right, hello everyone. Welcome back. And today we are going to discuss the topic of construction site injuries, your rights as a worker. Welcome to another segment of Live with Mitch, brought to you by Proner and Proner, a law firm with a global presence and expertise that feels local and personal. I'm your host, Mel Magluyup. Today, we sit down with the expert himself, Mitch Proner, a personal injury attorney with over 30 years of experience, here to answer your questions and share insights you'll find useful in the personal injury world. And remember, all consultations are free and confidential. Reach us at any time at 1 800 321 1234. So, how are you doing, Mitch?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It's an interesting topic in that as we speak, I'm currently preparing for a trial that involves
Okay.
construction and this injuries, and it's a case that my client has turned down an offer in
Right.
excess of close to $2 million. He's turned down, and we're going to trial. So these cases are oftentimes valuable cases, and naturally, there's a lot of careful decisions that have to be made along the way. Turning down that kind of money,
Right.
you can't do it lightly, and naturally, I'm advising him, and preparing for trial is a big endeavor as well.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm hoping for success, and more than hoping, I'm preparing night and day, and I got my team working on it as well. So the topic is one that's freshly on my mind. How are you doing, Mel?
I'm good. I'm good. A little cold, but I'm actually good. I need hair, nice hair like you, but one day. I don't know if that'll happen. But so yeah, anyway, so yeah, can you just explain, like, I guess to start off, like, what are the differences between a workers' compensation claim and a personal injury lawsuit, if you want to start there?
Okay, so my clients had in this case, like many construction accident cases, my clients had an ongoing workers' comp case that's been paying them
Yeah.
continuously while the case against the defendants in court and the third party claim um, has been moving through the courts. So here's the way it works: a worker in New York and most states in the country, if they're injured at work, only has to prove that they were injured at work, they reported the incident to their boss or supervisor within 30 days.
Right.
They need to be disabled for at least a week, and then they can bring a comp claim. And comp will pay out 2/3 of their lost earnings before taxes and all their medical bills related to the injury sustained at work.
Right.
That's the workers' comp. Workers' comp is insurance that their boss, the company they work for, is required to have to engage in construction or demolition, or even my law office. I have workers' comp insurance. If one of my employees gets trips over somebody else's chair, or uses a stapler wrong and gets injured, we have workers' comp, and businesses in New York are required to have compensation insurance. And it would also cover one of my employees. Let's suppose you, Mel, are on your motorcycle
Okay.
and you're using your motorcycle for my law office
Okay.
to go see a client, or to go to an event where we're promoting our firm. Well, because you're working, if
Right.
you get into a motorcycle accident, you would have workers' comp insurance as well covering you,
Okay. Good. Good to know.
in addition to the health insurance that you have. Okay, so construction worker gets injured. They have to report the injury to their boss within 30 days.
Right.
Their boss has to report it to his insurance carrier within 14 days. Within 18 days, the workers' comp carrier has to notify the worker of their rights and start making payments every 2 weeks based on the earnings that are lost, 2/3 of the lost earnings, multiplied by the percentage disability. So if over time, construction worker goes to a doctor and the doctor says, you're not 100% disabled, you're 50% disabled, and they literally make those percentage determinations, then you wouldn't get 2/3 of your lost earnings. You would get 50% of 2/3,
Okay.
which is 1/3. And those payments are made every 15 days for your entire time you're disabled. And your medical bills are paid. The loss of earnings is called an indemnity payment, and the medical portion is called medical payment. Now, on your third party claim, that's different than workers' comp. For workers' comp, you could be at fault for your own injuries. So if I go to put my glasses on, my reading glasses, and I poke my eye, it's my fault. But I happen to work, I got a workers' comp claim. So workers' comp, you could be completely at fault.
Mhm.
For a third party claim, which is different than workers' comp, because a third party claim will pay out for pain and suffering in addition to lost earnings and medical bills. So that's where you could get a case that's worth millions of dollars. You need to prove fault. So in the case I'm going to trial on, the fault is a slippery floor where my client was required to work. They
Okay.
were actually trying to move refrigerator units down a ramp, and they poured oil,
Oh my gosh.
and the oil created a slippery surface where my client fell. So other times, there's specific laws that relate to gravity related risk. That's where if you fall off a ladder, or you use the ladder when you should have been using scaffolding. If you have, or you didn't have a safe place to tie off with a harness,
Right.
or you didn't have a safety line. All these issues can create a workers' comp claim and a labor law claim. The labor law claim would be the third party action where you have to prove fault. And under the labor law, the owner of the premises may be held liable, even if they weren't there,
Mm.
because the owner could be held liable for gravity related risks, as well as the GC if you're working for a sub. But you can't sue your boss, because your boss, in exchange for giving you workers' comp coverage, doesn't
Mhm.
get sued. So for the negligence of a coworker or of your boss, you get workers' comp. Or if it's your own negligence, meaning your own fault, you get workers' comp.
Okay.
Sometimes, even though it might be your boss's fault, the owner of the property may be liable, given the protections of the labor law, which is why it's always good to consult with a knowledgeable attorney if you've
Right.
suffered an injury in construction.
Right. So, before we start to wrap this up, what would you say is the biggest mistake that people make after a construction site injury?
Well, the biggest mistake is oftentimes trusting their boss. A lot of times they think the boss is going to take care of them, and then it turns out they don't.
Yeah.
So the boss might tell somebody, "Oh, you don't need to report this claim. I'll pay your lost earnings while you're out."
Oh wow.
And they might pay your salary, but then they get these big medical bills, and they're like, "Whoa, I
Right.
can't pay that." So then you go through comp, and maybe the boss says, "No, this didn't happen at work," because the boss is in trouble because he didn't report it to the insurance carrier.
Right.
And he's afraid they're going to go against him personally. So now to protect himself, this boss who you thought was doing the right thing is now your adversary and calling you a liar.
Mm.
And this, unfortunately, I see this all the time, where the bosses and the worker are coming in with different stories, and they're both calling each other liars. And this is where somebody worked for their boss for 18 years, 20 years, knew them, they're friends before they even went to work together.
Right.
A- And so many times I've been at depositions where right after the deposition, my client hears the boss testifying, and they say to me, "I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something. He's lying. He's lying." It's like, that's just what happens. So protect your rights. Talk to a lawyer.
Hey, there you go. Well, there you have it, folks. Straight from the expert himself, Mitch Proner. That's going to wrap it up for now. Thank you for taking the time to tune in, whether it's on our podcast or video broadcast. We really, really do appreciate it. And remember, you can reach us 24/7 at 1-800-321-1234, where all consultations are free and confidential. If you haven't done it yet, please follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe to get the latest updates. Now, before we go, Mitch, is there anything else you want to add?
Yeah. A lot of times workers don't know where they're working. When you go to a job site, make sure you take photos just so you know where you are. There might not be even an address on the job site,
Yeah.
and get the surrounding area so that a lawyer can investigate. And if there's a defective condition that caused your injury, see if you get a coworker to take a photo of it. And most importantly, be safe.
Great. Yet more great advice. Well, thanks again, Mitch, for another informative session. And thank you all for checking us out. I know I learned a lot, and I hope you did too. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks, Mel.
All right,
Bye
take
bye.
care.